My husband pushed me into a second job, claiming we couldn't afford our daughter's science club and saying I didn't contribute enough to be tired. I agreed, for her dream of becoming an astronaut. While I slaved at a diner, he spoiled his mentor friend with gifts and took our daughter to her fancy apartment. When I confronted him, he snapped, "If you were less boring, maybe she'd still want you." I stayed silent. Today, he showed up at my daycare, eyes wild, begging for forgiveness. I kept wiping tables, unfazed. I yanked open the diner's back door, my apron soaked with coffee stains. The night shift had been brutal, truckers yelling, tips barely covering gas. I checked my phone. 1 a.m., Ava would be asleep, her science fair dreams tucked under her pillow. I'd taken this second job for her, to pay for the science club Brian swore we couldn't afford. My feet ached, my hands smelled of grease. I drove home. Our small house dark, Brian's car in the driveway. I slipped inside, quiet, expecting him on the couch, but the living room was empty. A single lamp glowed. I heard a murmur, low, from his office. My heart stuttered. I crept closer, the door ajar. Brian's voice, hushed, "She's working late. We're fine." A pause. Then, "Ava loved the kid. You're so good with her." My blood chilled. Who was he talking to? I leaned in, saw him, phone to his ear, smiling, not his work smile, something softer, intimate. I backed away, my pulse hammering. I trusted him, our 8 years. Our daughter, our life. But this felt wrong, dangerously wrong. I waited in bed, pretending to sleep. Brian came in at 2 a.m., didn't touch me, just slid under the covers. I lay still, my mind racing. We'd met at a county fair, his soda spilling on my shoes, his laugh pulling me in. We married fast, had Ava, built a modest life, 2 old cars, a mortgage, no luxuries, but stable, or so I thought. Ava, 7 now, was my world, her questions about stars, her dream to be an astronaut. She'd come home months ago, clutching a science club flyer, experiments, a planetarium trip, her eyes bright. I'd promised to make it happen. Brian shut it down, said his tech job couldn't cover it. I'd cut to part-time daycare after Ava's birth. Our deal, but he'd turned it against me. Said I needed to contribute, his words sharp. I'd found the diner job, grueling, humiliating, all for Ava, but now, his late-night call echoed. Who was with my daughter? Who was he hiding? Morning came. Ava ate cereal, chattering about school. I asked, casual, if Daddy had friends over last night. She nodded. Said Nicole came, helped her with a comet project. My stomach twisted. Nicole, a name I didn't know. I pressed, who's Nicole? Ava shrugged, said she's Daddy's friend, comes when I work, shows her science stuff. I forced a smile, kissed her head, dropped her at school. My hands gripped the wheel. Brian was at work. I went home, straight to his desk, my heart pounding. I felt like a spy, drawers locked. I used a paperclip, popped one open, found a burner phone. Cheap, no password. I turned it on, text from in. Thanks for the necklace. Ava's so smart, like you. Photos loaded. Brian, a blonde woman, Ava between them, at a science museum. Ava in a new jacket, not mine. My hands shook. I snapped pictures, evidence, my breath shallow. I found a bank statement, a secret account, his name, $10,000 transferred in 3 months. While I scraped tips for Ava's dreams, I sank to the floor, papers scattered, my world cracking. Brian wasn't just lying. He was stealing our life. I checked his laptop, left open, emails to Nicole. No last name. You're my escape. Ava loves the telescope. I Googled her, found an Instagram, public. Nicole, a bartender, not a scientist, posing in designer clothes. Ava in one post. Captioned, "My little star." I wanted to scream. I saved screenshots, hid them on a USB drive, tucked it in my purse. I wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. I needed more, needed to protect Ava. I drove to the bank, demanded statements. The teller hesitated. I showed ID, said I was joint account holder. She printed them. I scanned pages in my car. More transfers, $500, $800. Charges for restaurants, a spa, $1,200 for jewelry. My vision blurred. I'd been working myself raw, while he spent like this, with her. I picked up Ava, her smile a lifeline. She talked about a rocket she drew. I asked about Nicole, light. She said Nicole knew about Mars, promised to show her a real lab. My chest tightened. Nicole was in deep, too deep. I got home. Brian was there, cooking, acting normal. I watched him. Silent. He caught my stare. Rough shift, he asked, voice too smooth. I nodded, said yeah, my mind elsewhere, after Ava's bedtime. I checked the burner phone again. New texts. Can't wait for the fair. Ava's model is perfect. My blood boiled. Nicole was planning to be at the science fair. With my daughter. I saved it. Added it to my file. I called the diner. Switched to morning shifts. Less money. But I'd be home for Ava. No more letting Nicole play mom. I opened a bank account. Small. Secret. Started saving tips. I wasn't the wife who trusted blindly anymore. I was awake. Angry. And Brian's lies were about to catch fire. I tore through Brian's closet. My hands rifling through jackets. The burner phone's text still searing my mind. It was 6 a.m. Ava's still asleep. Brian at an early meeting. I checked his calendar. No meeting listed. My fingers brushed a folded paper in a coat pocket. I pulled it out. A hotel receipt. Downtown. For $100 for 2 nights. Dated last week. My shift nights. I unfolded it. Saw a handwritten note. Meet me at 8. In. My pulse spiked. I stuffed it in my purse. Grabbed my phone. Checked the bank app. New charges. $600 at a boutique. $200 at a wine bar. My hands shook. I was working myself to death for Ava's science club, while Brian was bankrolling Nicole's life. I needed more proof. I drove to the diner, morning shift, but my mind wasn't on coffee orders. I was planning, plotting. Every customer's tip went to my secret account. Small, growing, my safety net. I wasn't just a betrayed wife. I was a hunter, and Brian was my prey. The diner was slow. I slipped into the break room, pulled up Nicole's Instagram. New posts, her in a sleek dress, captioned, feeling on top. A restaurant I recognized from the credit card. I scrolled comments. One from Brian's work buddy, looking good, tell be high. My stomach lurched, his coworkers knew her. How deep was this? I saved the post, checked the burner phone, new texts. Ava's model is coming along, she's a star. I gripped the table. Nicole was helping Ava with her science fair project. My daughter. I texted my sister. Asked her to pick up Ava from school. I needed time. I drove to Brian's office, parked across the street, watched. His car was there, but so was a red SUV, Nicole's, from her Instagram. I snapped photos, waited. An hour later, they walked out, laughing, her hand on his arm. I ducked low, my heart pounding. They drove off. Together, I followed, keeping distance. They stopped at a coffee shop. I parked. Watched through the window. Brian paid. Handed her a bag. Small, velvet, jewelry. I took more photos. My evidence pile growing. I got home before Ava. My sister dropped her off. She ran in, hugged me, said Nicole was at school today, helping with a rocket demo. My jaw clenched. I asked, light, what Nicole did. Ava said she brought a model shuttle. Let her hold it. I nodded, hid my fury, asked if Nicole ever took her places. Ava said yeah. To a big apartment, with a rooftop deck. Daddy was there too. My blood boiled. I tucked Ava in. Read her a star book, my voice steady. After she slept, I checked the credit card again. Found a charge, $2,500, apartment deposit, dated 2 months ago. I cross-checked the hotel receipt's address. Matched it to a luxury building. Brian was paying for Nicole's home. I Googled the building, $3,000 a month. While I counted quarters, I saved the lease listing, added it to my USB drive. My anger wasn't hot anymore. It was cold, sharp, a blade I'd use soon. Brian came home late, 11 p.m., smelled of cologne, not as usual. He tried to kiss my cheek. I dodged, said I was tired. He frowned. You're always tired, his tone accusing. I snapped. Maybe because I'm working 2 jobs. He laughed, said I was dramatic. I wanted to shove the receipt in his face, but I held back. Said I was going to bed. He grabbed my arm. We need to talk, Rachel. His voice low. My skin crawled. I pulled free. Said tomorrow. My heart racing. He let go. Eyes narrow. I locked the bedroom door. First time ever. Lay awake, his words echoing. He knew something, suspected I was digging. I checked my phone. The bank app. Another transfer, $1,000, to the secret account. I screenshot it. Sent it to my sister. Told her to save it. No questions, she replied. You okay? I said not yet, but I would be. Next morning, I met a lawyer, a friend's referral. Her office was cluttered. Coffee-stained files. I laid out everything. Burner phone, receipts, photos, bank statements. She listened, scribbled notes, said I had a case, financial infidelity, possible fraud. She'd start an audit, trace the secret account. I asked about custody. She said Ava was my strength, Brian's lies my leverage. I left, lighter, but not safe. I picked up Ava, took her to the park. Watched her swing, her laughter my anchor. I asked about Nicole's apartment. Casual. She said it had a big TV, toys just for her. My chest tightened. Nicole was building a life with my daughter. I smiled, said that sounded fun, drove home. Brian was there. Early. Unusual. He sat me down, voice soft. I know the diner's hard. Maybe quit. Focus on Ava. His hand on mine, sweaty. I stared. Saw the lie? He wasn't worried. He was scared. I said I'd think about it. My mind elsewhere. The science fair was a week away. I'd invited the school board. Said it was for Ava's project. But it was for Brian, for Nicole, a stage for their ruin. That night, I followed a hunch, checked Brian's car, parked in the garage, found a locked glove box, pried it open, a key. An address scribbled, Nicole's building. I drove there, 1 a.m., reckless, parked across, saw Brian's car. He was there, not home. I waited, an hour. He left, alone. I tailed him. He stopped at a storage unit, unlocked it, went in. I snapped photos, didn't follow, too risky. I drove home, checked the credit card, a new charge, $500, storage rental. My mind raced. What was he hiding? I added it to my file, my resolve hardening. I wasn't just saving Ava, I was saving myself. Brian's lies were a house of cards. I'd blow it down. The science fair was my chance. I'd bring the receipts, the photos, the truth. I'd make him face it, in front of everyone. No more shadows, no more secrets. I was ready, and he wasn't. I floored the gas. Tailing Brian's car through midnight streets, my headlights off. His brake lights glowed as he turned into the storage unit lot. I'd followed him from Nicole's apartment. My hands gripped the wheel. The key I'd found in his glove box burned in my pocket. I parked a block away, heart slamming. He stepped out, unlocked the unit, disappeared inside. I waited, 5 minutes, 10, he emerged. Carrying a duffel bag, heavy, he tossed it in his trunk, drove off. I didn't follow. I ran to the unit. The key fit. The door creaked open. My phone's flashlight swept the space. Boxes stacked high. Labeled, work, files. I tore one open, contracts, bank records, a ledger, handwritten, detailing $60,000 in side payments, funneled to Nicole's account. My breath caught. I found a photo, Brian. Nicole, Ava, at a beach, dated last month, Ava in a swimsuit I didn't buy. I snapped pictures, stuffed the ledger in my jacket, then saw a locked safe, too heavy to move. I left, locked the unit. Drove home, my mind screaming. Brian wasn't just cheating, he was planning a new life, and Ava was part of it. I hid the ledger in my purse, checked the time, 2 a.m., Brian wasn't home. I texted my sister, asked her to take Ava tomorrow, said I had errands, she agreed, no questions. I didn't sleep, poured coffee, scoured the credit card, new charges, $3,000 for a lawyer retainer. Dated yesterday, my stomach dropped. Was he preparing for custody, divorce, or something worse? I checked the burner phone, a text from Nicole, talked to the guy. We're set for next week. My blood chilled. What guy? What plan? I saved it, added it to my USB drive, emailed my lawyer, attached the ledger photos, asked if it was enough for fraud. She replied at dawn. Said it was damning, urged me to file for emergency custody, freeze his accounts. I nodded to my screen, my resolve steel. The science fair was 5 days away. I'd expose him there. But this new threat, this guy, felt like a ticking clock. I dropped Ava at school, her smile bright. She said Nicole was helping with her science project again. Showing her how to wire a planet model, I hugged her, too tight. Said I'd be at the fair. She nodded, ran off. I drove to the lawyer's office, showed her the lawyer retainer charge, the burner text. She frowned, said Brian might be hiding assets, planning to relocate. She'd request a court order, track the retainer's recipient. I left, my head spinning. I checked the credit card again. A new charge, $1,500, travel agency. I called, posed as Brian's assistant, got details, 2 tickets, San Diego, him and Nicole, 3 days after the fair, no ticket for Ava. My hand shook. Were they running, abandoning her, or worse, taking her later? I screenshot the confirmation, sent it to my lawyer, drove to the storage unit again, reckless, daylight. I needed that safe's contents. Used a crowbar, broke it open, found a passport, Brian's, a bank card, Nicole's name, $10,000 in cash. I took photos, left the cash, locked it, my heart racing. I was in deep, but so was he. Brian came home that night, eyes bloodshot. He tried to play dad, helped Ava with homework. I watched, silent. He caught my stare, snapped. "What's with you?" I said nothing, just tired. He pushed. "You're acting paranoid." I laughed, cold. "Maybe I have reason." His face twitched. He backed off, said he had work, locked himself in his office. I heard him on the phone. "Low, she's suspicious. We need to move faster." My skin crawled. I crept to Ava's room, tucked her in. She whispered, "Is Nicole coming to the fair?" My chest ached. I said maybe, kissed her, after she slept. I checked his laptop. He'd changed the password. I used the burner phone, found an email draft to Nicole. "After the fair, we're gone. Ava will adjust." My vision blurred, not tears, rage. I forwarded it to myself, deleted the trace, saved it to my drive. He was planning to take my daughter. I wouldn't let him. Next day, I met my lawyer again, her desk piled with files. I showed the passport, the travel agency charge, the email. She nodded, said we could block his travel, file for a restraining order. I agreed, signed papers, my hand steady. I picked up Ava, took her to get ice cream, watched her lick her cone, asked about Nicole's apartment. Casual, she said it had a room for her, with star decals. My heart sank. Nicole was building a home for my daughter. I smiled, said that sounded neat. Drove home. Brian was there, pacing. He sat me down, voice soft. "Rachel, I know things are tense. Let's take a trip. Just us three." His eyes desperate. I saw through it, said I'd think about it. My mind on the fair. I'd invited Ava's teacher, the school board, Nicole's boss, Carla. Said it was for community support, but it was my trap. Brian didn't know. Neither did Nicole. That night, I followed another lead, drove to the travel agency, asked about the tickets. Showed the confirmation number. The clerk said they'd been changed, now for tomorrow. My blood froze. Brian was moving up his plan. I called my lawyer, left a voicemail, drove to Nicole's apartment. Parked, saw Brian's car, waited an hour. He left, carrying a suitcase. I snapped photos, my hands trembling. I checked the burner phone. A new text. "Pick up the last stuff tomorrow. We're ready." I saved it, drove home. Brian was there, asleep. I didn't wake him. Checked the credit card. A charge for a rental car. Tomorrow's date. My mind raced. Was he taking Ava? I hid my purse, the ledger. The USB, under my mattress, lay awake. The fair was my chance, but tomorrow loomed. I'd stop him. I'd protect Ava, no matter the cost. His lies were a house of glass, and I was ready to shatter it. I burst into the science fair, a folder of evidence clutched to my chest. My voice cut through the gym's chatter. "Brian, Nicole, we need to talk." The room froze. Kids paused mid-experiment. Parents turned. Ava's solar system model spun on her table. She looked up, confused. Brian stood by Nicole, his face ashen. Nicole's smile vanished. I'd planned this, invited Carla, Nicole's bar manager, as a community guest. She lingered near the entrance. I opened the folder, held up a photo. "Brian and Nicole at the beach with Ava." "Explain this," I said, my words sharp. Brian stepped forward. "Rachel, stop." "Not here." His voice cracked. I ignored him, tossed bank statements on the table. "Or the $60,000 you hid in a secret account." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Nicole stammered. "I didn't know." I laughed, cold. "Didn't know, or didn't care." I pulled out the plane tickets. "San Diego. Tomorrow. Just you two." "No Ava." Ava whimpered. "Mommy." My heart shattered. I knelt, whispered, "Stay with Ms. Carter, baby." The teacher took her. I stood, faced Brian. "You build a life behind my back. With my daughter." My voice trembled. Rage, not fear. Brian grabbed the photo. "You're twisting it. She's unstable." He shouted to the crowd. Carla stepped closer, picked up a statement. "This is your name, Brian. $10,000 to Nicole's account." She turned to Nicole. "You said he was single. Nicole sobbed. He told me you were leaving, that Ava needed me. I scoffed. Leaving? I've been slaving at a diner for her science club while you played family. I held up the burner phone texts. Read aloud. After the fair, we're gone. Ava will adjust. The room went silent. Brian's eyes widened. That's not what it means, he faltered. Carla shook her head. Nicole, you're fired. Nicole ran out. Crying, Brian lunged after her. Wait. But she was gone. I turned to the crowd. He funded her apartment, her clothes, her lies, with money I earned for Ava. A parent murmured. Disgusting. Brian spun on me. You've destroyed everything, his voice raw. I stepped closer. No, you did. My words a blade. The principal intervened. Take this outside. I nodded, took Ava's hand, grabbed her model, walked out, Brian trailing, shouting. You can't take her. I turned. I already have. My lawyer's custody filing was in motion. I'd won this round. In the parking lot, Ava clung to me. Why's Daddy mad? I knelt. He made bad choices. Baby, but I've got you. She nodded, tears falling. Brian approached. Ava, come here. I blocked him. Back off. My voice steel. He raised his hand. The principal grabbed his arm. Enough. Brian backed down, eyes wild. I buckled Ava into my car, drove to my sister's, my hand shaking. Ava was quiet, clutching her planets. I said we'd stay with Aunt Lisa tonight. She asked if Nicole was coming back. I said no, my chest aching. I'd exposed them. But Ava's confusion was the cost. My sister met us, hugged me, took Ava inside. I called my lawyer. Told her about the fair, the confrontation. She said the judge had approved emergency custody. Brian's accounts were frozen. The ledger and contracts were enough for Roswell. I stayed in the car. Checked my phone. A text from Brian. You'll regret this. I deleted it. My focus on Ava, on rebuilding. I drove to the storage unit. Needed the safe's contents. Used the crowbar again. Snapped it open. Found more documents. A lease for Nicole's apartment. A bank card. $15,000 cash. I photographed everything. Left the cash. Locked it. My lawyer needed this for the fraud case. I went home. Brian was there. Packing. He froze. What now? He spat. I held up the lease. Planning to run with her, he stammered. It's not like that. I cut him off. Save it. I've got the passport, the tickets, the money. His face collapsed. Rachel, we can fix this. I laughed. You fixed it when you lied. I grabbed Ava's favorite book. Left him standing. His world in ruins. I went to my sister's, slept beside Ava, her breathing soft. I'd torn his lies apart. But the fight wasn't over. The fair was my spark. Now I'd burn his plans to ash. I signed the divorce papers, my pen steady. The lawyer's office hummed with quiet efficiency. Ava played in the corner, stacking blocks, her laughter a soft anchor. 3 weeks had passed since the science fair, since I'd shattered Brian's lies before the crowd. The folder of evidence, photos, ledger, bank statements, sat on the desk, now legal weapons, my lawyer. Sharp-eyed, slid the papers back, said the judge had granted full custody. Brian's fraud charges were pending, his secret account seized. I nodded. No triumph. Just relief. Ava was mine. Our life ours to rebuild. I thanked her, took Ava's hand, walked out, the weight of 8 years lifting. I wasn't the naive wife anymore. I was Rachel, survivor, mother, whole. We drove to the park. Ava ran to the swings. I watched, my heart full. The battle was over, but the scars remained, and I'd carry them for Ava, for us. At the park, Ava climbed high, shouted, "Look, Mommy." Her smile bright. I waved. My phone buzzed. A voicemail from Brian's mother, her voice shaky. "Rachel, we're so sorry. We didn't know." I deleted it, not ready for their guilt. They'd called twice since the fair, left messages about Ava, about fixing things. I didn't reply. Their son had built a second life, stolen from us. They'd face him, not me. Ava slid down, ran to me. Asked if we could get ice cream. I said yes. We walked to the shop, her hand in mine. She talked about her new science project, a star chart, no mention of Nicole. I thanked the stars. Nicole had vanished, fired from the bar. Her Instagram gone. Brian's texts had stopped. The restraining order held. My sister had helped. Kept Ava during court dates. Cooked dinners. She was my rock. I owed her everything. We sat with our cones. Ava's mint chip dripping. She asked, quiet, "Is Daddy coming back?" My chest tightened. I'd shielded her from the worst, but she felt the void. I wiped her chin, said, "Daddy loves you, but he made mistakes. We're okay, just us." She nodded, didn't push, took another lick. I watched her, my fierce girl. She'd cried after the fair. Asked why Nicole left. I'd held her, said it wasn't her fault. She hadn't mentioned her since. I quit the diner, kept my daycare job. Money was tight, but we managed. Ava's science club was paid for. My tip savings, she went weekly, came home with stories of experiments, her eyes alight. I'd never let that fade. Never again let anyone steal her spark. That night, I tucked Ava in. Read her a book about galaxies. She hugged me, whispered, "You're the best, Mommy." I kissed her forehead, fought tears, went to the kitchen, poured tea. My sister called, said Brian had moved. The condo address from the lease. Nicole wasn't with him. I didn't care. He was gone. My lawyer had traced the last of his accounts. $20,000 recovered, enough for a fresh start. I hung up. Checked my email. A message from Ava's teacher, praising her star chart, suggesting a scholarship program. I smiled, forwarded it to my sister, said we'd apply. Ava deserved every chance. I'd make sure she got them. No more lies, no more shadows. I sipped my tea, felt the quiet, not empty, but full, a new kind of peace. Brian showed up the next day at my daycare. I was wiping down tables. He stood by the door, haggard, eyes sunken. My coworker tensed. I waved her off, faced him. "What do you want?" My voice ice. He held up his hands. "Just to talk." I crossed my arms. "You lost that right," he swallowed, said. "I'm sorry, Rachel. I messed up." His voice broke. I laughed, bitter. "You think sorry fixes this? You stole from Ava, from me." He flinched, said he dropped the custody fight. Wanted to see Ava, supervised. I stared, saw no fight left. "Just a broken man," I said. "Court decides, not me." He nodded, left. My coworker hugged me, said I was fierce. I smiled, felt it. I wasn't afraid anymore. Brian's shadow no longer loomed. A week later, I took Ava to the planetarium, her science club trip. She pressed her face to the glass, awed by the star display. I watched her, my heart swelling. We sat through a show, lights dancing. She grabbed my hand, whispered, "This is the best day." I squeezed back, said, "Plenty more coming." We drove home, singing her favorite song. I felt whole. The court date loomed. Fraud charges against Brian. My lawyer said he'd likely plead guilty. Face probation, maybe jail. I didn't care. He was out of our lives. The recovered money went to a college fund, Ava's future. I'd started a new routine, daycare, science club drop-offs. Dinners with Ava. We baked cookies, laughed, rebuilt. My sister joined us sometimes, brought her kids. Ava played, happy. I watched, grateful. I'd fought for this, won it. The final hearing came. I sat in court, Ava with my sister. Brian stood, head bowed. His lawyer read a plea, guilty to financial fraud. He got 2 years probation, restitution. I exhaled. It was done. The judge nodded at me. Said I'd protected my child. I left, drove to pick up Ava. She ran to me, hugged me. I said, "We're free, baby." She grinned. Didn't ask what it meant. We went home. I cooked her favorite, mac and cheese. We ate, talked about stars. She drew a picture, me and her under a sky of comets. I pinned it to the fridge, my new treasure. That night, I lay beside her, her breathing soft. I thought of the fair, the folder, the fight. I'd been broken, rebuilt stronger. Ava was my light. Our life was ours. The drama was over, the lies ashes. We were enough. And I'd never let anyone dim us again.